On the Music, the podcast for the serious musician, music industry professional. Howdy, y'all. Hey, Mark Sebby here. Join us as we dive in and learn lessons from life experience of the real Texas musicians. If you're a Texas music lover or you just love the Texas music scene, then this podcast is for you. Come join us every Wednesday at 9 p.m. We go live on YouTube and Facebook, and you can always find the recorded version of the live show on your favorite podcast distribution source. Let your friends know all about Way Beyond the Music. That's every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see you on the show. All right, y'all. Well, happy Wednesday hump day to you. And look who's with me tonight. Justin Biltonen from the famous rock band, Three Doors Down, and more importantly, your musical journey in the Texas music scene is what we're talking about tonight, man. So thank you for being on the podcast tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And this is all about a rock star with Texas roots. And that's where I want to start. I want to start with your story, man. Tell me how all of this, and tell everybody out there how all of this got started, how you got your start in music, and what led you to joining Three Doors Down, and then also your Texas music journey, in a nutshell.
The short version, I grew up playing music, grew up in church playing music, always playing in youth groups and stuff in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then, played guitar for a long time, grew up on country, grew up in North Carolina, and was just always kind of immersed in music. It was a big thing in our house. It wasn't like a huge musical family, but everybody was really supportive of it. So started touring as soon as I got out of high school and bands that I'd started. And from there, started getting over to Nashville, writing a lot. I wanted to write country as much as I could, and met some folks there that were, kind of showing me the ropes that way of how they did stuff. And in that same time, kind of a lot of things happened at the same time, but ended up joining Three Doors. I knew those guys pretty well over the years. I replaced their old bass player. This was 10 years ago now. And started touring. put a big focus on, playing bass and playing for them for a while. And whenever we were home in Nashville, we were still writing country all the time, and I had a pretty big passion for it growing up on all the older stuff and a lot of the classics. And things kind of evolved from there. I started having friends that were telling me to get out and play on my own because they liked what I was doing. So I had a lot of support from friends and family, and part of those friends were, all over the Texas area just from touring so much with all the other bands and everything. They were like, man, you should bring your stuff down here and start playing. And that was about 5 years ago, and get down as much as I can and play all over, and met a lot of great folks and doing the Texas scene stuff. And I absolutely love it. I was just in Galveston this past weekend, and had 2 great shows down there and had a lot of fun. And what I figured out is like folks just listen to music differently in that area, I think. And there's some other areas like in the country that, embrace singer-songwriters in that regard, but the Texas, Oklahoma, places out west, it's just a different vibe, and it's kind of where I found my heart and my voice, really just, the stuff that I wanted to write and put out for folks, and still keep on chipping away at it with everybody and getting back as much as I can to play. And yeah, I guess it's a long, short version of it.
Yeah, you know what? That was really short, man. I thought you were going to take the first 20 minutes and I was just going to sit back. I wasn't going to interrupt. I was going to let you, give your spill.
I've done this a couple
This is way beyond, this is way beyond the music. So normally that's exactly what you would do, right? On a podcast, give the short, and then the host takes over and leads you down a script. And as well as I know, there is no script. We are off of, I like authenticity. I like things as they happen. I think that content is it's hard to find sometimes.
Yeah.
He's trying to be the next YouTube star, I really don't care about that. I make my money elsewhere. I want to have different, content, and it's going to only resonate with a small audience, and that's fine. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. And I think that's, sometimes a good way to look at, it all depends on what you want to do with music, but if you just want to write your songs and do your thing, you kind of have to have that, outlaw kind of punk rock attitude of it, of this is what I do. If you like it, I'm your guy. If not, then there's a bunch of other people you can listen to. So
you do have that, but you know what, man, your music is really good, man. I enjoy it. When I first, I was like, all right, this guy's with 3 doors down. I was like, how much rock is in this? I was waiting for it. And you know what? So you're from North Carolina originally, right?
Yeah, I grew up there.
Cool, man. I lived in Greensboro, High Point, and Archdale, and around that area, mostly in Archdale.
Cool.
My brother had a horse ranch out there, and I was a chef at the time, and he was like, you got to come up here to Greensboro and High Point. And you got to go meet Jimmy Noble, man. He's got the best restaurant, that 5-star restaurant, and man, you'd be such a great chef to work there. And I got a wild hair up my butt and left Texas and went and helped him with this horse ranch and went and did the chef thing. Met Jimmy. He wasn't impressed with me. He put me on salads to start. I had to learn how to make his signature dressings and make his salads right. And then he moved me on.
Been there.
Yeah. Well, 6 months later, I was a sous chef. And then 4 months after that, the executive chef passed. And he was like, you're ready. I'm putting you in. And so I ran the Greensboro store for a little bit before. Yeah. So I love North Carolina, man. In fact, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. That was my first in-person football, NFL football game.
Yeah, it's a tough time to be a Panthers fan right now, but
yeah, it is.
It was a great state, great place to grow up. Very similar kind of music history in that state, as well as like that Texas area, with a lot of kind of traditional sounding stuff, ton of bluegrass. It's like what we grew up on. A lot of traditional country, and a bunch of great artists have come out of there. So definitely don't. It was a great place to be from.
So let's talk a little bit, since this is way beyond the music. I'm going to talk about a few things. And if anything I bring up, man, tell what you want to tell. Don't tell what you don't want to tell. You know how it works.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't talk about it, don't talk about it. I don't want to get you in trouble. I would never do that.
Of course.
But I do like to dig. And the reason I do is because a lot of podcasts don't, a lot of interviews don't go in depth. And you don't, there's a side of it that never gets seen. And, earlier I was on the phone with Mark Farner from Grand Funk Railroad and his wife, Lisa. And we were talking about social media strategies and stuff. I'm doing some consulting work for them and helping them with this website and stuff. They decided to have a change of heart and wanted to do something different and reached out to me. And I'm blessed and humbled, but awesome guy, man. But oh God, man, what happened to him, dude, in the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. And in fact, I built him a TV station. He's got Farner Vision on my Sebby TV network, which is, if you get a chance to check it out, dude, you'll trip out on some of the stories. But I know you've seen a lot on the road. Can we talk a little bit about on the road, what that's like with Three Doors Down? And then I want you to contrast that and compare it to what it's like doing what you're doing in Texas.
Yeah, we've got, we travel with quite a few buses. We got usually pretty big staff, big stage, big stuff that we travel with, unless we're doing something smaller, like an acoustic tour or something. But I was like very fortunate coming into the band at the time I did, because like I was kind of slowing down, they were slowing down, everybody's big health focus on the road, which is really nice. Try to eat right and take care of yourselves. There's a longevity in it, and I try to carry that over into what I do by myself as well, because I do play with the band sometimes when I do solo stuff, but for the most part it's just kind of storytelling, singer-songwriter, sit and play a couple of hours for you, stuff that I've written. So I enjoyed it. It's kind of a different kind of cathartic thing for me. I just usually just throw my stuff in the truck and take off, or if I'm flying somewhere, just pack up and go with that. And it's very different than, traveling with 30 other people and 5 guys on the bus and catering and everything. But both of them have their ups and downs, and really love them both for, different reasons.
That's kind of cool, man, that you get to cross both lines too. You've got that, you get to scratch all itches of your music love, man. And obviously you've got to love what Three Doors Down does, or you would have never auditioned for the band, Oh
yeah, I love it. And it made sense with what I grew up with, and they're a Southern rock band, like through and through. Whenever you listen to their stuff, they've, Brad's writing is very, country sounding. It's like it's life. It's I can't even think of any like party songs that we have or anything, like nothing's like that. It's like, songs about life, and I think that just it just made sense. That's why I fit with them and why I've been with them for as long as I have now. But then I think too, it's been equally beneficial for me, not just having the name, but whenever folks come out, it's not like I'm in this heartfelt Southern rock band that's been around for 25 years. I'm out doing like glam rock, dressing up like Alice Cooper. Like I'm doing singer-songwriter stuff that I'm writing from a life perspective and from the heart, and it's a different style of music, but I think the fans kind of connect to it in a similar way, which has been a huge blessing. Just really cool with kind of the dichotomy of everything with the band and with the solo stuff. And the guys are all super supportive of it. And our drummer Greg, he's played with everybody. He's been with Three Doors for like 17 years or something, but he grew up in Kingston, Oklahoma, and he just opened a coffee shop there.
Nice.
And a couple months ago, I was playing down in Fort Worth, and he just rode with me to the show, and then we went up and I played his coffee shop the next day for everybody, and we just had a blast. It was cool. So everybody's got like a cool, supportive, feel for it, which is nice.
There's so much that goes into that. And, when I was younger and I met, this was in the 90s, and I met some of the more, prominent, famous musicians at that time. They weren't as humble as the musicians are today. And I think it has a lot to do with what happened with streaming and the level of competition. Anybody can get on YouTube and learn how to play guitar now. And then once they do, they're ready to become a professional musician, or at least they think they are until they find out what that means.
Yeah, and I was actually going to mention that, like with the kind of partying aspect of rock and roll bands and stuff. Like I can't think of anybody that we tour with that gets crazy.
Right.
Like those times are over, and I think it's just the money's different, the focus is different. You got, and not just because you're like trying to hide something, you got eyes on you 24/7. And if you're out doing crazy stuff, messed up in the street and, cussing people out, or, getting kicked off a plane or something, like somebody's going to be filming it. So it's going to end up on YouTube and Instagram and all that. And no matter what anybody says about, like, being a rock star, there's going to be a bunch of people that don't want to work with you anymore. So I think just the game has changed so much, and people don't want to invest in you because there's a million other people that they just found on TikTok that are, waiting in the wing that will be nice to folks. So
yeah, man, you make a great point. It is a different, it's a different environment. It's a whole different world, the music world. And, I work with young artists that are just coming on the scene. I like to think of myself as the boot camp for the Texas music scene. I'll help you figure out what not to do, because I did it all. I did all the wrong things. So let me educate you on what not to do and show you the right way to build relationships and to carry yourself. And then we'll do a few radio releases together and teach you about that side of the industry, teach you about social media, making sure that your website's top of funnel. So if you get deplatformed, you have your contacts. That's a big thing with me, with all the people I work with. If they're not using their website as top of funnel, we got issues. Because, man, just look at the last couple of years, all the people that have been deplatformed that were making a 6-figure income off of their YouTube channel or whatever. And they said one wrong thing and goodbye.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done. So I like that you mentioned that, because what if you had to talk to someone, like, to pretend like I'm a brand new musician coming to you, Justin, what do I need to look out for? What do I need to do to establish myself in the music scene, not just in the Texas music scene, because that's a whole different racket, but in general, what advice would you give to somebody that wants to do what you do, and how from point A, which is I don't know shit, to where you actually start making some traction? What would you give them as advice?
Don't do it.
Yeah, me too.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know. You just think a lot of it boils down to just being good to people, and you got to watch your back and stay professional. And no matter what you're doing with your band, with your management or anything, you have to have good people around you, and you have to have folks that not only have your interest in mind, but that are also professionals, because there's so much of this at the end of the day that's a business. So you got to have folks that are going to watch your money, and make sure that whenever they encounter, anybody else in the business, those people leave with a good impression. Because again, at the end of the day, it's like any other business when it comes to that aspect of it. So I think a big part of it, and a lot, some people are just really natural at it, but a lot of it is, finding the right people and figuring out when people are good or bad, because you meet a lot of folks in the business that seem great at first, but they have ill intentions one way or the other. So
it'll remind
people right and figuring out the right people around you, I think, is extremely important.
Yeah, it reminds you of the Garden of Eden, the snake in the Garden of Eden.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of damn snakes out there.
A bunch. And you were in speaking of snakes, now you were in Nashville for a long time, and I'm not trashing Nashville, I'm really not. That is a great place to learn the music business.
Yeah.
And make great networking connections that can take you places that you would never get in Texas. It's an honest assessment. And I think that if you're really serious about doing this, you got to spend a little time in Nashville. You got to spend time in those songwriting camps. You might even want to try being a songwriter for a while before you do your due diligence of the live shows, and I've seen all different kinds of things work for all different kinds of people. And the people that are thinking outside of the box now and that are utilizing all the tools and embracing the technology and the changes seem to be the ones that are doing pretty good in all of the scenes. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. You know, you got to have all the tools and stuff, but again, like what you're saying, like no matter, like, especially it seems like now, like no matter what genre you're doing, like you kind of got to make the pilgrimage out here for a little while or on weekends or something. Like no matter what kind of music you're writing, usually like the best writers are out here because it's where the business is and it's where people have always comes to Nashville. So it's not the end all be all. I don't think, but and I could be totally wrong about that, but it's good to make a point to get there and play and meet folks and meet those musicians that are there with the, you know, similar intent. And you can find really incredible musicians in your hometown when you're growing up, and then sometimes you can't. So there's no shortage of them in Nashville. So that's another kind of benefit of Nashville, Tennessee, is just like-minded musicians.
And it is important who you surround yourself with, and I mean that has a direct impact on your character and who you become too.
Yeah. Well, iron sharpens iron, so
amen, brother.
That's something I always kind of keep in mind. And if you, I think especially like younger folks, like it's easy because you usually end up with the folks that you grew up with or you went to high school with playing music with. That's usually how it goes, is you start a band somewhere down the road with hometown folks, which is great. Sometimes they'll be with you for your entire career. Sometimes you get out on the road and they just can't handle it. And that's the thing, is like finding those people that are going to be professional and lift you up, not be on stage falling down drunk or, I don't even know, like just doing stuff that's going to damage your reputation and your business and your music that you're trying to get across.
Yeah, I was that guy, man, at one point in my
I'm sure I'm sure I was that guy at some point too.
Yeah, I mean, getting too drunk and messing up lyrics and forgetting guitar parts and thinking that I sounded great, and then years later when I got sober and I watched those videos, I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a waste of talent, man. What a waste of talent to have your mind so clouded and thinking it was a party when your intention the whole time was to be a career.
Yeah. Well, until you're trying to
get caught up.
It's very easy to get caught up. It's happened to me a million times. Like I get it. Like you're in the moment, but like you're presenting that excitement and kind of the party for those customers, basically, like the people. It's so by all means have fun, but you kind of got to keep in the back of your mind, like this is for them, not necessarily for me to cut loose and be a train wreck. Sure. You want the girls and guys in the crowd to be dancing and drinking and buying drinks at the bar and stuff, and then you get done, you're like, hey, that was a professional, good sounding thing, and they want to see you again. The venue wants you back. You build forever fans. That's another big thing. I think you want fans that kind of grow with you as well. So I always kind of tell folks, like, and do whatever you want, but like, don't be the guy that's up there just like getting smashed, taking shots every couple songs, like, I don't know, just be professional a little bit, but also don't listen to me.
No, actually do listen to you. And, there's a lot of, really do, because if you've made mistakes, obviously you learn from them and you've been successful after you made a mistake. And I've learned something about myself. If I wouldn't have failed so many times, I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And that was part of my journey. And I'm a big believer in that God has a path for us and we have free will. and we can stray off the path. But the minute we do, he's going to do something to us to put us back on the path.
Absolutely.
And trust me, he kicked my butt and got me back on the path more times than not. And I'm lucky to still be here in some aspects. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I had a rough ride there for a few years. And the catalyst for that was when my mother passed when I was 25. And I kind of went off the deep end for about almost a decade, dude.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yep. And I didn't go get counseling. I didn't deal with my issues. And I'd lost my dad 3 years before that. Grandparents were already gone. So I was left with my brothers. And for a long time, we didn't talk. 7 years.
Dang.
We had no relationship whatsoever after mom passed. And one day, my sister-in-law, my brother Todd, the third oldest, his wife called me and said, I know you're down in Corpus. I was in Corpus Christi. I was running a Volkswagen Porsche dealership down there. And she goes, and I know you're miserable. We got 22 acres here in Canyon Lake. Why don't you come back? We're going to build everybody houses here, do all that. My brother's a veterinarian. He's done really good for himself, man, and worked his butt off to get there. And I thought about it. And at first I said no. And about a week later, after thinking about it, I was like, and she even said, I know you always wanted to do your music career. Why don't you come back and focus on that? You can do that. And that I came back and I did that. And then there was, about 9 years of performing again. And then I started doing the back end stuff that I'm doing now. And that was a hard transition. I'm not going to lie, man.
I'll bet.
That was to give up that dream. And I was making really good progress too, but to give up that dream, man, was a hard thing.
Yeah.
And the other hard thing is in this industry, and if you are an entertainer or an actor or anything to do with entertainment, even I guess newscasters go through this, it is very hard to keep your relationships, your marriages, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever it is, your kids, everything, because you're sacrificing so much to do this.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that with us, man. What kind of sacrifices have you had to make to get this?
You miss a lot of stuff, family stuff going on. Especially when you're on the road with the band and, you got big shows coming up that just can't be canceled for, one person. And then you got thoughts of I don't want to lose my gig if I don't go to this family event. So over the years, you got stuff like that, or you plan something and something comes up that you just can't deny. And then that is just the time away from home. There's a big aspect of that where you're gone a lot. So if you own a house, you got a relationship, sometimes stuff kind of falls through the cracks. But if you got it just comes down to surrounding yourself with the right people with all that. So you got a good person in your life that's going to be a partner, then makes it a lot easier.
Amen. Yeah, it does. And I got married once, dude, and it was a train wreck. And I had my role in that too, man. I can't blame everything on one person. About
rarely one-sided.
Yeah, no, man. There's always three sides to every story: his side, her side, and then somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Yep.
And sometimes we don't even know the truth. We can't see it.
Yep.
But I know I had my role in it, and but man, dude, it was basically, it boiled down to with her. She knew who I was when we got married. She knew what I was going to do and what I wanted to do. And about 3 months into the relationship, she goes, this isn't working for me. And I've got 3 kids to think about. So it's either your music or us.
Yeah.
And I walked off stage, and that was when I was opening for Wade and Randy and Stoney and all those guys, And I walked off stage. I fired the band, said, sorry guys, I'm done. I'm only getting married one time. And, I made a commitment, and you want to ask if I regret it? Yeah, big time. I should have just well, bye, Felicia. Because hindsight's 2020 though. But I needed to take that journey. That needed to happen, because when I got back into it, I worked 10 times harder than I ever did, because I'd lost it all. Yeah. So
all about that journey.
Biggest challenge that you've had in your music career?
Social media. I know you were bragging on saying it was great, but man, it's always something with that. And I was just having a great conversation today too. Like even now, like no matter who you're talking to in the business side of stuff, like you can build, this grassroots following, have all your songs, have your performance, have your look, have all this stuff ready. But like the number one thing they ask is like, what are your social media numbers? And that's like frustrating. It's such a I know it's like a huge tool and it's a great way to do stuff, but it's for a lot of artists, I think it's like whether they want to admit it or not, it's something that you don't ever want to focus on because it just takes up a ton of your time, and it kind of, at least for me and other artists, I don't know, like kind of takes you out of that space where you're like, oh, I got to sit and record this song to make sure I'm hitting these algorithms today on, this platform, and make sure that I'm doing this, and make sure I'm, sitting here at lunch with my friends and, oh, look at this, like you got to do this stuff that kind of takes you out of the moment all the time. And I know that's like for me personally, but like that's kind of the name of the game, I guess, right now. And, for a long time, I guess it was hitting, 7 a.m. radio shows or something. I don't know. There's always going to be some aspect of it. But right now, I think social media is the most frustrating one because you just see like people that are working their asses off, and
Man,
there's a million other people doing it, and they're just putting it on social media.
You can get lucky a lot of ways. You get lucky on social media and get some success. You can get lucky by having a really good song, and it just lands in the right laps, and you get success. But that's like a 1% of everybody that's doing this.
Yeah,
the ones
it's definitely, it opens up more avenues for stuff, which has been great because there's a lot of other people that get to hear your music in a situation where, maybe you, for whatever reason, you can't tour and you've got a, very demanding job, but you're very passionate about your music, and you come home at night from work and you can crank out some songs on TikTok and people attach to it. So it's different because it's more than just, let me turn on the radio and whatever the radio is playing, I can listen to it. So I think I should clarify a little bit. Like the challenge to me is, actually doing it all the time because you have to constantly be engaged with it. But it is like a very helpful tool for kind of that grassroots kind of movement because like I could sit here and play songs for people all day and reach a lot more people than I would, playing at the bar down the street. So it's definitely got both sides to it, I think, that are helpful and extremely frustrating because I think too, the business side of it puts like a massive focus on the numbers of it, but also that's just how business is. It's a numbers game, and they want to see data, and that's what they take for your worth.
Well, okay. So speaking from a business perspective, though, if you don't inspect what you expect, you can't expect anything.
Yep.
So you've got to look and the data and I used to hate, man. I hated spreadsheets and all that. And now that I've flipped the roles and I'm not on stage, I'm digging it, man. I'm diving in and I'm learning learning stuff I told myself I would never take the time to learn, like video editing and live streams like this. Man, I hated them. I was like, man, there's another dude on frickin' Facebook playing his guitar, man. Continue, man. Support him out there, man. To get off the Facebook, man. This is for bashing people, But you know what I'm saying, man. And everybody's got a different thing that they go to. Now, I will tell you one thing I did notice about your social media. As good as it is, I would love to see, and I'm going to challenge you to something. I would love to see a side of you, a little more of a side of you, like what I'm fixing to put up on the screen. I would like to see the side of you a little bit more that I haven't seen, and maybe I'm missing it. But I see a lot of you playing guitar. I want to see the side of your actual life, and so do your fans. And I challenge you to make some content driven that way. And if you need some pointers or anything, man, I'm more than happy to help you out.
Yeah.
Working with Xavier Joseph right now. I'm doing a little helping him out. He's got a radio promoter. He's got Dylan Steen, man. Dylan's a beast. And he reached out to me, and I said, man, as long as Dylan's cool with me working on your social media with you, I'm fine with that. And we started a YouTube campaign for him, and man, he is learning a lot, and he is really good on camera, but you're good on camera because you've had to be in front of all those people on stage, man. Big rock concerts, man. I mean, what's that like the first time you stepped on a big stage and there was more people than you'd ever played for before? What was that like?
Well, that first one was in Moscow, Russia. So I feel like it was such a blur, that whole show and that tour. But like that first time was pretty crazy. You're in a big arena from on the other side of the world. And it was the first time I ever like really used in-ear monitors. And first time was like a real true professional band and tour. So I don't know, it was crazy. Like it's such a blur thinking about it, and that show went by faster than any show I've ever played. So it was incredible, but also scary too, because until you do something like that on that level, you can have all the confidence in the world and be like, oh yeah, I'll be fine, which is great because you have to have the confidence to do it anyways and go into it confident. But what do you do if you mess up, or if you like
keep playing?
Yeah, that's the first thing you're out there playing. Like, what do I do if like I break a string or something? So
pretend like it didn't happen, because not many people catch it unless they're musicians, really, honestly.
This is also true. Half the stuff we worry about, nobody notices or cares.
The show, and if you got the energy and you're bringing the energy, dude, they'll forgive you for almost anything as long as you don't. When you make it an issue, it's an issue. Yeah. If you stop playing or you go, oh, I messed up, I'm sorry. I tell people all the time, don't do that. Just keep going, dude. Stop doing that. You're killing yourself, man.
Yeah. You don't have to explain anything, unless your guitar spontaneously explodes. You probably need to tell somebody about that. But you don't have to divulge too much
that will be on the next Mark After Dark podcast. What was it? Spontaneous combustion in guitars with Justin Biltonen.
Spontaneous guitar combustion.
Yeah, man. We'll put it on the Fourth Dimension television, dude. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I was playing the show in Moscow, man, and my bass exploded in the flames.
Well, I mean, if it's in Moscow, you probably can explain that pretty easy. But
yeah, right. What are they like over there in Russia? Did you have a good time while you were there? Were they nice?
Yeah, it was awesome. We had 2 days off, and people are just people everywhere. They're living, especially at a concert. And especially, I think, in those situations, I've noticed when you go to, like traditionally far-flung places on the globe, or you go to places where they're not constantly bombarded with music, the fans are super appreciative no matter what language, no matter how far it is. I play in Alaska a lot, and the fans love it. It's a great, awesome time. People show up to shows, whether you're playing with another band or if you're by yourself. They're supportive. They buy the merch because it's really far away. So you don't get the traffic as if you do, like if you go down the street in, Austin or San Antonio or something. Like you're not going to get constantly bombarded with music in those places. It's the same whenever we go and play military bases and stuff. Like they're like, you came to us. That's awesome. We're going to support it.
Right. So you got a little side hustle, and I want to talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I told you earlier, I was like, man, is he making this, or is he, endorsed? And you're actually in your workshop too. So this is perfect timing.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not a meth lab. It's my workshop.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, man. That's what they all think, man. Is that
that's what they all say.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've heard that rumor about you. No, but, you make jewelry, man, and, accessories, right?
Yeah. Make like stuff out of silver and turquoise.
Yeah, man. And it's good looking stuff. Let's explore real quick. We're going to go to your little shop here. It's called Sacred West Vintage. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's your brand there?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you brought it right up.
Yeah. And look at this stuff, y'all. Y'all got to go over. Tell them where your website, how to get to your website real quick while we're looking at this.
It's sacredwestvintage.com. So just that name.com. And then also have the Instagram you can follow. It's Sacred West Vintage on Instagram. And usually post some of my process and what I'm making on there. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I've been working on stuff all day.
This one right here, sterling brass feather pendant. I got to get one of those from you.
Yeah, I still got it.
Yeah, man. When I get my life together and have some money, because I don't know what it is about being in the music business. There's just no money in it. There really isn't. People think that they probably think that you're swimming in the riches, doing what you're doing, and
yeah,
nah.
it is not like it was. I'm rich in spirit.
Well, hey, and you got a great looking a website too. Let's bring that back up real quick, and I'll as soon as I get to the right page there before I put it back on the screen. But you, man, dude, you were just all over the map, man. Two different music projects, and then you got your business that you do, your side hustle. And let's take a look here really quick.
Yeah. I like to stay busy and stay creative as much as possible.
Who did your website for you, man?
It's actually Kevin from Chad Cook Band. He plays bass. Nice, well, he did all my workshop stuff, and then I need to update that website. It's been a long time, but a buddy of mine in Nashville put that together, and then I can go through and kind of update it time to time.
Nice. Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to keep up with everything, dude. I mean,
oh yeah,
I don't think a lot of folks realize how much really goes into all of this crud that we do.
Yeah.
I can tell you for a fact they don't get it,
Yeah.
But I like it, man. I like the layout. I like the look. He did a fantastic job, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need to I need to update some of it, but
that's the story of my life too, Justin, on all of my websites, all 60,000 projects I have. And that's another thing too, man. I had to really look after 2022. I had to look at thinning out some stuff,
Yeah.
I had too much.
I mean, it's like any other office, I guess. It'll pile up.
It will. So you've got a current single out to radio. You want to talk about that and talk about your journey in pushing singles to Texas radio? What is that like? Tell somebody that doesn't know anything about it what that entails.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's a little more kind of open, I guess, to smaller artists and local artists and artists that are coming up than you would find in like the big Clear Channel radio stations. But I just put out an EP. It's called Restless. Got 6 songs on it. They're kind of floating around all over the place, but just from meeting folks and friends and stuff, over the years, they've kind of just tossed out the music to friends, and you've played a lot on your stuff, and ended up with some radio stations that were spinning it, and that was in I guess 2020 when everything was kind of funky. I had some songs that I put out that just kind of spoke to that time, but they were cool and people liked them, and I think they just kind of organically ended up on some Texas stations, which was pretty cool. So that was in 2020 was Worth Hanging On To was the first one. And people liked it, and it was charting. It did like 156 or something, but like that was the first time I ever had anything on a radio station that actually hit a chart. And then a buddy of mine, Greg Austin, he helped with some stuff, and a song called Wild Mustangs and Heartache Rodeo, the one that you're kind of clicking on. They both got on charts and hit up in the 60s, which was kind of crazy. And people were, kind of spinning it all over different radio stations in Texas, and Oklahoma, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that's a awesome awesome feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, especially like as an independent artist, like I still, I've got friends that help me with stuff. I don't have a record label. I've got a small publishing company here in town that just started that been helping with some amazing things. And that's it. I don't have, management, don't have booking. It's just like legitimately just from making friends with folks all over the place and keeping up those relationships with those friends and, taking the time to get out and perform for people and take my music to those places and kind of keep cultivating those relationships, which again goes all the way back to surrounding yourself with good people. And I think I've been fortunate with finding good people that want to support the music that I'm doing, and then just staying friends with them and keeping up and going and playing good shows for them and doing my best when I'm there. And I think the word travels, and it takes a long time. I don't necessarily see myself going viral anytime soon, but definitely keep chipping away at it and take my music to folks and try to keep those relationships going and keep people listening to what I'm doing.
Yeah, man. So tell me, what was the inspiration behind the song?
For which one? The Worth Hanging On To?
Yes.
That one, I was driving home back to Nashville from Texas shows, and my truck was really dirty, and for some, like I was just driving along, and for some reason, like the part of the chorus popped in my head that was this truck, it might be worn out, covered in dust, but it still runs. And these boots, they're a long shot from being brand new, but some things are worth hanging on to. And the rest was like Grandpa's rifle, Mama's Bible, and you. And so it kind of came together. I had a writing session in Nashville and ended up putting it together with a couple of great writers, and people really liked it. And I think at the time too, in 2020, when everything was kind of shut down, and it was a song about taking care of stuff that's important to you, I think people just kind of latched onto it, which was really cool. And it's still like my most streamed song, which isn't saying much because
well, no, man. I mean, come on, dude. 199,000. I'm looking at it here on Spotify. 199, 183. That's nothing to like be. I mean, those aren't bad numbers, dude.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, compared to
Spotify
other stuff these days, but that's also too without getting playlisted on anything.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You're not spending a bunch of money on this, are you?
No, I mean I'm spending in the right places, I guess. But like I said, I still do it myself and do all that. So still trying to figure out all the playlisting and I guess kind of the politics of that stuff. But
well, why don't we take a listen to it? Let's listen to Worth Hanging On To, man. You cool with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Days, it's easier to throw away the tried and true, and it ain't what it used to be. You can't hold the hands of time, no matter how hard you try, but that don't mean that time's your enemy. 'Cause life gets better as the years go by. Like this truck might be worn out, covered in dust, but it still runs. It still runs. These boots, they're a long shot from being brand new, but some things are worth hanging on to. Like Grandpa's rifle, Mama's Bible, yeah, love like yours and mine didn't happen overnight. It took breakdowns that didn't break us up takes work to make it work. And we both have a lot to learn. And I promise you I'll keep holding on up. This truck might be worn out, covered in dust, but it still runs. It still runs. But these boots, they're a long shot from being brand new. Some things are worth hanging on to, like Grandpa's rifle, Mama's Bible, and you. Yeah, you. So Chevrolet, my last name, and the Bible verse that found you. Some things are worth hanging on to, like this truck. It might be wore out, covered in dust, but it still runs. It still fires right up. Yeah, these boots, they're a long shot from being brand new. Some things are worth hanging on to. Yeah, some things I'll always hang on to. Our Grandpa's rifle, Mama's Bible, and you. Yeah,
Man, I dig it, brother. I like that tune. You know, that I don't know, man. It's a toss up between that one and the one I'm gonna play when we go off when we get out of here. But man, dude, what a great job he did on that song. Really.
Oh, thank you.
I think that might be your best one yet, just in my opinion. For what that's worth, that might be your best one. Are you doing your own radio promo and all that too, man?
Kind of, sort of. I got friends that help.
Hey, dude, you got friends, man. If you got a team, dude, that's all you need.
Yeah,
it's hard to do it yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tough. You gotta love what you're doing. So
that's for damn sure, man.
Yep.
That's man. Anything you wanna summarize or close out with? Any last minute advice for anybody out there? That a lot of musicians give me feedback. They actually watch the podcast. I'm surprised. I'm surprised they keep your attention for longer than 8 minutes.
Yeah. Like I said just a second ago, you got to stay in it because you love it. And you got to love what you're doing. You got to kind of treat it just like any other artist that's like doing a painting or building jewelry or whatever it is, whatever your artwork is. And songwriting and performing's an art. And at the end of the day, you got to love doing that. That's got to be the driving passion, because there's going to be a lot of times where it doesn't feel like there's anything happening, or, you know, someone tells you no, or especially nowadays you get on social media and somebody's like, this song sucks, I hate it. Like, you know, there's going to be a million things, and you got to be so passionate about it that you don't let any of that stuff bother you at the end of the day. And that's when good things happen, and you got to enjoy doing it and love doing it so much that that's all that kind of matters at the end of the day. And you got to see the, you know, kind of the into the future and not worry about it in the moment and worry about what everybody else is doing. So you got, just focus on, you know, loving the music, loving the art form of it more than the idea of getting famous. Because it's great to have those goals and it's great to have those dreams, but if at the end of the night you're dreaming about how famous you're going to be, then go do something else. But you know, if you're going to bed with song ideas stuck in your head and you're getting up every morning and picking up a guitar, then just remember that driving force of it when the chips are down. Because It's a roller coaster, and you got to learn how to ride the ups and the downs and everything in between, because there's going to be, a week where everything's on fire, and then 6 months where you're like, what am I doing? So,
Amen.
And it's always like that. No matter what level you get to, there's always going to be new hurdles and challenges and ups and downs. And at the end of the day, you just got to love making and performing music.
I'll tell you, man, 2022 was that year for me where I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I had a rough year, man, and I refused. When 2023 came, I was like, oh, thank God. And I'm like, I'm not having that. I learned some valuable lessons in 2022, and I'm not going to make those mistakes again. And I'm not, man, it doesn't matter where you get, you can always fall back down. It's not about how you fall. It's about how you rise.
Yeah.
So I'm torn between these two songs, so I'm gonna play this one and then we'll wrap it up. All right, man. And I really appreciate you being out here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Worth Hanging On To is a great song, and I love it. But man, this is the other one.
From way out west, way down south, in every corner of this great land. From big city lights to the wide open plains, yeah, united it's how we stand. From town to town, you'll hear the sound of freedom in our words. 'Cause you can't keep us down and you can't drown us out. Our voices will be heard. We are the restless, the heartland heartbeat, neon cowboys cruising down Main Street, outlaws, jukebox gypsies, the high in Colorado, desperado hippies, on a Boston rodeo, turning up the radio in a world that ain't gonna tame us. We are the restless. We're from back 40 roads, bad neighborhoods, but there's pride in who we are. More than enough, barely getting by. We all feel it when times get hard. Yeah, we can be found still hanging around in churches and roadside bars. 'Cause you can't keep us down and you can't drown us out. 'Cause this is who we are. We are the restless, the heartland heartbeat, neon cowboys cruising down Main Street, outlaws, jukebox gypsies, the high in Colorado, desperado hippies, on a Boston rodeo, turning up the radio in a world that ain't gonna tame us. We are the restless. We are the restless. Whoa, whoa. We are the restless. We are the restless. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. We are the restless, the heartland heartbeat, neon cowboys cruising down Main Street, outlaws, jukebox gypsies, the high in Colorado, desperado hippies, on Boston rodeo, turning up the radio in a world that ain't gonna tame us. No, this world, it ain't gonna tame us. 'Cause we are the restless. We are the restless. Whoa, whoa. We are the restless. We are the restless. Whoa, whoa. Yeah.
And I love the ending on it. Now that one I can hear a little bit of that rock and roll. I could feel just a little bit of that southern rock coming out in that one. And man, both great songs. I can't say which one's my favorite though. So can both of them be my favorite?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool, man.
Yeah, that last one was it's kind of the title track on my Restless EP that just came out. And I actually wrote that with my buddy Terry Lee Palmer. He plays for John Party.
Oh, and, nice.
Great writer, awesome guitar player, really cool guy. We met years ago because we both had a bunch of turquoise on and long hair and started talking and became friends, and wrote that one kind of about, everyone trying to come together, and everyone's restless and was sick of being all cooped up and mad at stuff, and just, it's kind of a, anthem kind of thing. So that's why I wanted to put it on that Restless EP, and people like that one. It's fun. I usually start my set with it and kind of get it rocking.
That's a good choice, man. And when you're in the neighborhood next time, or you're going to be in the neighborhood, let me know. Oh, you're going to be here not too far off, right?
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
You're going to be 7th. Actually in my neck of the woods. March what?
18th.
That's right, 18th and 19th, yep. And you're going to be at River Rose Tavern.
River Rose on the 18th, and then Goofy's.
Yeah, Texas Music Radio Sundays, the Sunday podcast. Yep. You're gonna be live on that show too. So I'll get to see you sooner than I thought, man.
Yeah, and March 17th, I'll be opening for Chad Cook Band and Katie at Wildcatters, and then
you're gonna hate that, huh?
Yeah.
Those guys
like I said before, their bass player Kevin, he did all the artwork for my new EP and all the singles released off of it, which was really cool. A really talented guy. So cool.
Yeah, Kevin's parents actually came out to Goofy's one night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I got to meet them. They're super nice people.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Man. Well, I thank you again, and hey, we'll catch y'all next week, man. We're going to let Justin get on back to being a rock star. Buddy, I'll catch up with you later, man. Keep making that great music. Keep swinging, baby. You're doing great, man. I love what you're doing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting music as much as you do.
I try. That's all I can do is try, right?
Yep.
All right, man. Yep. Well, hey, folks, we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Way Beyond the Music podcast. Say goodbye to everybody, Justin.
See y'all. We'll see y'all down the road.
Well, as they say in show business, that is a wrap. I want to thank you all for tuning in to Way Beyond the Music podcast. If you'd like to be a guest on the show and you're an artist or an industry professional, or you've got something cool that you think you could teach the audience, shoot me an email over at mark@sebbymusicgroup.com. That's Mark, M-A-R-K, at Sebby, S-E-B-B-Y, music, M-U-S-I-C, group, GROUP.com. I'll review your ideas, take a look at who and what you are, and we'll see about getting you right here on the Way Beyond the Music. We'd love to have you. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and also go visit us and be a Patreon. Go over to our Patreon site, and you can also get some really cool merch that's going to be rolling out here in the next week or two over at our online store. Check out the description wherever you got this podcast from for all the links. And we will see you next Wednesday at 9 p.m. for Way Beyond the Music. All right, Texas music lovers, we're going to catch you next time.